What are you doing?
Trying to climb out of 4 digits.
It's useless.
Там у него киллать. Oh my god! It's Peppy, big fan!
My beloved game Oz had died. It was a long and painful process, but it is finally over. Every score and every second people spent on the game means nothing after it's all over. The only thing which remains are the memories.
Oh my god, but that can't be.
Your prediction about the game didn't become true, after all.
Of course it didn't become true. I mean, it was just a parody video. I mean, it should have been obvious at the part when I said I will get 1 billion subscribers, or anywhere, really.
That's not quite it. The future you described could have become true, but the destiny of Oz had been led astray by sin. In an alternate reality, virtue triumphed sin, and we would ascend for this journey. But since Oz died, we got our own version of hell. The Oz community was so bad that even Rhythm Game Hell didn't want to take any of us. Come with me, as I shall show you the hell of circles through the circles of hell.
Oh wow, that sounds like a perpetual Ocean. Let's go! Oh. Is this Elliot?
No, not yet. This is the gate keeping the increased levels of autism from leaking out to the real world. Although it still leaks a little, which attracts a strange type of rhythm gamer. These souls are the ones which hate Oz so much that they are preoccupied with it more than their own rhythm games. They are unable to leave Oz alone, even long after it died, so they followed it down to the gates of hell to scream at it, claiming that Oz is not even a real rhythm game, and that we should use the term chart instead of map. I wouldn't stay too long here, as this place is not really interesting. Very boring. Now, let's open the gates.
Welcome to us.
Well, it's hopefully dead.
We are at the edge of hell, where all the minigame players reside. Nobody really cares about them. Actually, they weren't even invited. They just came on their own. Let's move on before they start comparing their games with standard. We are entering hell for real this time.
2019, June 27. After all the degenerate behavior of the Oz community, Peppy decided to cast us in hell once and for all. We could have prevented this outcome, but we failed miserably. No amount of regret will make those days come back. Now, let's venture into the depths of this hell to see our fate unfold. This is our eternal damnation. The first circle of hell is the home of all the shitposters and memers who drove even the best jokes to the ground during their lifetimes. Don't let the ambience fool you, dear visitor, as the tint of the surroundings is not the result of hell's flames. The exposure to the most cancerous part of the community made everything deep-fried in the first circle of hell, effectively turning it into a giant cancer tumor. Even the voices of the souls here are deep-fried, making it hard to understand what the other says. However, the only time people communicate here is when they share memes, which would get unfunny if they actually understood them. As such, they happily continue browsing O's game and Twitter for O's memes, sharing them over and over without ever finding them repetitive. Their complete lack of self-awareness and ambivalence to anything other than funny posts made them a lower form of consciousness than other humans. The self-induced autism and ADHD prevented them from breaking away from their bad habits, creating a vicious cycle and a uniform behavior. The life these people lead is a punishment in itself. Moreover, hell couldn't possibly accommodate for all the meme-loving O's players, as there are just so many of them. The first circle simply contains the cancer, as the company of these people would be a far bigger punishment than anyone would deserve. When entering the second circle of hell, it is impossible to ignore the noise and the brightness. This is by no coincidence, as the tryhards and elitists of O's are being punished here with eternal lawnmower racket, which overpowers even the best noise-cancelling headsets. There is no escape from the sun's blinding light either, as the photons bouncing off the walls do not get weaker, resulting in the most annoying sunlit monitor experience anyone can ever imagine. On top of that, they are forced to play the most casual games possible. Games such as The Sims and Roblox provide very few possibilities for min-maxing. Nevertheless, these hellishly dedicated players try to salvage every opportunity to optimize even the most casual games. They make lengthy guides on the optimal way to breed your Sims, and their elaborate strategies in Roblox Battle Royale are more complex than the game's code itself. During their lives, elitists and tryhards often helped new players asking for advice. However, they had done it condescendingly, using every opportunity to highlight the inexperience of the newcomer. Any advice regarding improvement was met with, "Play more." They mocked people relentlessly who had too much fun with the game. At the sight of the slightest faux pas, they ridiculed the person breaking the unspoken rules, instead of helping them understand why things don't work that way around here. Yet, the elitists were serving a purpose for the game. The bar of entry into internet communities got progressively lower as time went on. This included O's as well. One may consider this a good thing, as we became more inclusive, but people who never really belonged were not filtered out. They just lingered without any connection to the community. Some even tried to reform it. Moreover, the lack of hazing made newcomers take the community for granted. Dedication and loyalty were the thing of the past, and the few elitists who tried to enforce the old rite of passage dwindled due to the pressure from the advocates of inclusivity. A certain level of gatekeeping is a necessary evil in every community. However, the necessity does not make it any less evil, which is why elitists and tryhards reside on the second layer of hell. The next circle of hell may be familiar to a lot of people. Although almost everyone is guilty of farming PP to a certain extent, only the most addicted farmers are thrown into the fields of eternal harvest. It does not matter whether you played double time or hard rock, whether you were 6-digit or 2, as long as you farmed excessively, you belong here. After all, being a farmer is a state of mind. Obsessing over arbitrary numbers is a surefire way to land in any game's hell. Due to that fixation on the wrong aspects of the game, the Fields of Eternal Harvest punishes its farmers by blinding them. This not only prevents them from farming, but also from getting their dopamine hit by watching others farm. Speaking of which, they are surrounded by another group of people who received the opposite punishment. Top players who were active Twitch streamers are also here, but they are in the privileged position to torment their audience, while also tormenting themselves. They are forced to farm increasingly more overrated maps to broadcast to the casual PP farmers below. Farmers are surrounded by big PP gains, but are unable to witness it. So close, yet so far. Although the streamers have long become desensitized to the dopamine rush of gaining PP, every time they manage to set a score, An electric shock flows through their bodies to stimulate a reaction similar to getting a big PP play on stream. The blind farmers from below scurry around the fields, desperate to find out how much PP their favorite streamer achieved. But alas, none of them can see the score. One might assume that the maps played by the streamers of the previous circle are provided by PP mappers themselves. However, that wouldn't be much of a punishment for them, now would it? O's Hell has such advanced machine learning programs that PP mappers are completely outclassed by AI mappers. They can make hundreds of PP maps far farmier than what we have encountered during O's lifetime. Moreover, the AI can use the enormous amounts of replay data and combine it with the PP code to create increasingly easier maps requiring less and less effort. Simply knowing that machines do a better job at PP mapping than they could ever hope so is a punishment in itself. However, at the fourth circle, the levels of suffering go beyond just retribution. Mappers who were cast down into this layer of hell are free to map to their heart's content, as that is the only thing they are allowed to do here. The catch being that they can only use the 2007 client. This punishment goes beyond constant crashing and inadequate tools, as they cannot save their maps either. Every time the client crashes or they start a new map, all the data vanishes. Most of the time they can't even finish the timing, so that's all they ever do. Treating mapping as its own game mode is a sin, earning a somewhat harsh punishment by itself. Although, the intent is an important factor when deciding which circle to throw these mappers. On the fourth circle, we can only find the garden variety of PP mappers, who just simply like the dopamine rush of having their maps played by a lot of people. Nevertheless, they compromise the integrity of mapping for their own enjoyment. As a fitting punishment, the mapping tools available to them reflect the quality of their maps. Next, we shall enter the circle of wasted potential. There is an amalgamation of players with vastly different backgrounds and motives here, as wasted potential covers a lot more than one would assume. As such, the fifth circle is arranged in the shape of a city. The closer we are to the center, the bigger sins we encounter. At the very edge we can find players who full mod easy and normal diffs to farm leaderboard first places. These maps are designed to the very beginners, so, in a way, full mod leaderboard farmers are the sandbaggers of low difficulty maps. They are punished by their clients not showing maps under 6 stars, essentially preventing them from playing all the maps they did during their lives. Full mod players inhabit the outer edges of the fifth circle, alongside with low-ranked players who only played maps way beyond their skill level. The yin and the yang of wasted potential truly amplify each other's suffering. Neither could appreciate the score of the other during their lifetimes, because they simply never played the same maps. Yet, both think of themselves highly, as low-ranked players who pass admin on 60% believe they can play the map comfortably. These low-ranked players wasted their potential by not learning the basics properly, so they improved at the same rate as players who never played outside their comfort zone. Their punishment mirrors their neighbors, as no map above 6 stars shows on their host client. Moving further inward into the city, we can find various tournament-related sinners, such as no-shows, bad referees, and the dreaded sandbaggers. No-shows and players with similar sins, such as those who rage-quitted mid-tournament, wasted the potential for a glorious match. Playing in a tournament is all about the experience, so forfeiting that not only robs the no-show from the opportunity, but the opponent and the audience as well. Bad referees can make this experience even more sour. A match which would be otherwise enjoyable can be turned into a nightmare with a bad ref. The characteristics of such referees are impatience, moodiness, and maybe even bias towards one of the teams. it's not always players who make the match crawl at a snail's pace. Sometimes it's the bad referee. But there is another type of tournament player who made tournaments unenjoyable for some people. Whether you call them sandbaggers or derankers, not many received as much unbridled hate as these types of players. They have earned such unparalleled contempt because they kept their rank low to win rank-restricted tournament badges. However, they are not exactly here in the 5th circle of hell for that particular reason. The city of wasted potential welcomed tournament sandbaggers because they consciously or unconsciously restricted themselves by not playing maps which could have earned them large amounts of PP. Moreover, due to their low rank, they could not qualify to some of the tournaments, which could have tested their true potential. For their tournament sins, the players cast upon the middle layer of the city of wasted potential received the punishment of schedule hell, affecting every part of their lives. Days and nights last unpredictable amounts of hours. A 24-hour day is unheard of here. Yesterday, it was a 35-hour day with 2 hours of nighttime. The day before that, it was an 18-hour day with 4 hours of sunlight. Clocks have also been removed from this place. In fact, there is not a single timekeeping device which works here. What's more, every street has a different time zone, so it is impossible to schedule a match. Or, really, anything. The punishment for tournament sinners is truly on the 4th dimension. Finally, the very center of the 5th circle is reserved for players who quit by cheating. Naturally, cheating is among the most heinous crimes, but the ones who do it to get banned don't do it for personal gain. They do it to force themselves to quit, thus they waste their potential, deserving their place here. This act does not only hurt them, though. It disappoints people who believed in them, friends who supported them, and rivals who improved with them. What's worse, people who quit by cheating often just return after a couple of months, going through all that trouble for nothing. For their weak willpower and character, the 5th circle of hell punishes players who quit by cheating with making them physically unable to play. The bones of their hands are brittle to the point where holding a pen in itself would shatter their entire hand. Streaming is impossible for them, as even 170 BPM bursts would break off their fingers, as if they were icicles being smashed to pieces. Even though missing limbs and broken bones heal overnight here, the pain is unbearable. Yet, these players try to play every day, because they have no regard for the consequences, just as they had none during their lifetimes. Whether it's restriction or broken bones, they cannot keep their addiction under control, which is why their suffering is eternal at the middle of the 5th circle. Greetings! So, hell is overrated. There is no other way around it. It might sound sudden, but it's just a fact. The 6th circle, also known as the Necropolis of content. Every low-effort content creator is here. This place is full of YouTubers and streamers who did not manage to create high-quality content. They are placed in boxes with just enough space for them and their computers. On these computers, they are only allowed to watch their own content, which is a harsher or more lenient punishment depending on the quality of videos these content creators made during their lives. They may have created bad content, but their intentions were not necessarily evil, which hell acknowledges. That is why boxes marked with a special red cross are reserved for the truly corrupted. Some content creators compromise their integrity for a quick buck. Twitch compilation videos and replay channels which did not ask for permission to upload other people's content have a special place in hell. They have no original content of their own, so they simply cannot be forced to watch it. Instead, their boxes are completely dark, with no room to move and no one to talk to. The stolen content is punished by taking away every method of absorbing it. In Other words, eternal sensory deprivation. Oath was a community-driven game. Even though people started playing for the gameplay, most of them stayed for the community. There is something special about Oath that brings its community together. Those who disrupt that sense of belonging with petty drama are thrown into the seventh circle of hell. Circle jerkers plagued Oath for a very long time, but it is their complete disregard for others that really make them evil. By acting as a group, they don't feel their conscience when they drag down their target. They are the online equivalent of high school girls looking for drama, just to assert their social dominance, or to enjoy the suffering of their unsuspecting victims. Perhaps they missed out on that in real life, which is why they do it here in Oath. Nevertheless, Oath is an online game where turning the screen off is enough to make them go away, unlike in real life. As such, the game itself is being damaged by their actions, since the circle jerkers corrupt the game's community into a toxic wasteland. The punishment for turning our welcoming community into a cesspool of toxicity is making the circle jerks into what they created. Every single person in the seventh circle are combined into a toxic cloud of hive mind, constantly being tormented by each other's thoughts. This hive mind experiences drama every single second of its existence, but the effect of their toxicity is reflected upon itself, as the target and the source is one and the same. The perpetual state of anxiety which is inflicted upon itself makes the cloud of circle jerk hive mind into a volatile entity. However, nothing escapes its consciousness, so to an outsider, it is just a strange mass of gas. Opposing circle jerks sharing one consciousness with each other is a fitting punishment to the sins they committed during their lives. As Oath became bigger, drama over insignificant matters increased. Some people enjoyed the spectacle of these unproductive feuds, especially so if they weren't part of it. They took perverse pleasure in seeing others being destroyed and getting socially outcasted. It was just casual entertainment for them. People like that are submerged into the toxic cloud of hive mind, which corrodes their bodies down to the bone, just to get healed the next day to repeat the process. The seventh circle is overseen by the in-game moderators, but they only guard the gates, so the hive mind would stay quarantined forever. Loktav himself sits between the seventh and the eighth circle on his Hurlishare throne, where he has total control over the sinful souls residing in here, maintaining absolute power. Perhaps this position in itself is a punishment, instead of a privilege. Power comes with responsibility, and people on the 8th circle not only fail their duties, but they also actively abuse their powers. Oath was a community-driven game. Power was given to people who were perceived as selfless individuals, who just wanted to give back to the game and its community. Exploiting that trust would already be a cardinal sin alone, but to misuse the power for selfish gains is unforgivable. The punishment to everyone on the 8th circle of hell is absolute powerlessness. Gravity is 10 times stronger here than on Earth, yet the winds are so powerful that nothing can remain on the ground. Blood boils, then freezes in their bodies every second. Their limbs get torn off by the forces, then rearranged randomly, never really giving enough time to them to get used to their new grotesque bodies. And, worst of all, people here are manually breathing and blinking. They always know that their noses are in their vision no matter what. And finally, they not only lost the game, they are losing it perpetually for the end of eternity. The list of punishment does not end here in the 8th circle. Depending on their intentions, people who abused their powers are tormented within their minds as well. Many of those who abused their powers didn't receive any punishment when Oath was alive. Their misdeeds were done intelligently. People were manipulated. Oath could have lived much longer without these evil souls. As their motivation was often due to hunger for attention, their punishment on top of the harsh environment is simply being forgotten. Their names are not remembered anywhere, and everything they had done in their lives disappeared. Even they themselves do not remember what they had done, which makes them question why they are being punished so much. It is as if their former selves had never even existed in the first place. Those who had motives other than attention are given a different punishment. Some abused their powers as a way to assert their dominance. Their uncontrolled power tripping was not really tied to any desire for fame nor fortune. Some of them were so desperate for a power position that they even attempted to bribe themselves into it, effectively sacrificing money for the privilege of sacrificing their time, just to be able to exercise some power onto others. Punishing these individuals is difficult, as they punish themselves plenty in their lives. As such, their punishment above their unforgiving surrounding is to experience every single comment on #Oaths without being able to moderate them. Every single comment and interaction on that godforsaken place is projected into the mind of the power trippers all at once for eternity, and they can do nothing about it. This is the ultimate powerlessness. We have reached the lowest point in Oath's hell, where the most abhorrent sins are being punished. These souls have proven that the weakness of their character is beyond salvation. They are the most destructive elements in the game by far. But what could be worse than the degeneracy of shitposters, the corruption of power, or even the endless circle jerks? The 9th circle is divided into 2 parts. The upper layer surrounding the core is reserved for the cheaters who never admitted their wrongdoings, constantly denied their sins, and deceived everyone in the community, including their friends, until the very end. Their entire body is immobile, while various creatures consume their flesh, which never seem to run out. Rats gnaw at their bones while insects burrow into their muscles. What's more, their intestines are filled with slugs spewing their slimy bodies forward from every orifice, matching the undignified slimy behavior of the cheaters. But the worst is yet to come. They are forced to watch the core of the 9th circle of hell, which is reserved for the most heinous cheaters of them all, the tournament cheaters. They suffer from the same bodily torture as the cheaters above them, except the tournament cheaters are the main cast of the most revolting network ugly bastard hentai in all of the parallel universes. And they are not the ugly bastards themselves, that's for sure. After all, what's a more fitting punishment to the tournament cheaters than being featured in a hentai revolving around cheating? This way, the tournament cheaters' punishment are the most severe among all of Oath's Hell's inhabitants, while the other cheaters have to bear witness to such unholy sight. There is no further down from here. We have reached rock bottom. Our journey through hell concludes here. Now,
You shall be cast in the appropriate circle of your sin, never to be seen by the surface. It's time to suffer the consequences of your actions. Close your eyes now. Brace yourself. And when you wake
Wake up!